He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. La 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 la. Okay. Let's paraphrase my monologue. Give me my robe. Give me my robe. Well, what is she saying here? Because am I putting it on myself? Am I asking my handmaiden to pass it to me? By I mean Cleopatra in this Shakespeare monologue. I, Cleopatra, what am I doing? Why do I say this? What is the paraphrase? Give me my robe. Well, robe in, I think, everyday 2025 language would be like, it's not a bathrobe, or is it? No, it's not. It is my gown. It's my royal gown. Give me my royal gowns. But I'm not saying to hand it to me. I'm saying put it on for me. Put on my royal gowns. Help me put on my royal gowns. Put on my royal gowns. Give me my robe. Put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me. Put on my crown is, yeah, that one doesn't need paraphrasing. I have immortal longings in me. I have immortal longings in me is I have immortal longings in me. What are immortal longings? Immortal longings. I wish to in me, like, I wish to be larger than life. I wish to live forever. I wish to live forever. Yeah, that's what she's saying. I wish to live forever. Now no more the juice of Egypt's grape shall moist this lip. Now she's basically saying that she will never be able to drink Egyptian wine or juice, grape juice, right? Well, not drink, eat. Eat Egyptian grapes. From now on, from this moment on, I will never be able, well, no, not able. Cleopatra would not say she would not be able to. She's saying, from this moment on, Egypt's grapes will never moist this lip. It's more than just touch. She's saying, from this moment on, I will not the juice of Egypt's grape. Now no more juice. From this moment on, juice of Egypt's grape. I will not savor the fruits of this land. From this moment on, I will not, after this moment, I will not be able, no. After this moment, the fruits of this land and I will never meet again. Like, I will never eat. After this moment, it's actually very deep. Now no more the juice of Egypt's grape shall moist this lip. It's like, okay, let's talk about it. So let's unpack it, okay? Because I don't want to say I will not be able to eat these grapes, because that's not what she's saying. She's saying that the juice of these grapes I will not savor them anymore. But it's not coming from the eye. It's saying those grapes won't touch these lips anymore. From this moment in time. I will not be able to taste the fruits of this land. I won't savor the fruits of this land physically. But it's not, even if I can do it mentally, she's talking about the physical aspect of it. So it's hard to paraphrase that, because it's like, she's saying, because in this play, they also call her Egypt. She is the embodiment of it. They refer to her by the name of her country. I don't know if anyone ever referred to Queen Elizabeth as Britain or England, but they're referring to Cleopatra as Egypt, which some might say is reductive, but in this play it's actually expansive. It's saying that she is the country, and that is her power as its ruler. And yeah, now no, and that's important for this line because knowing that they refer to her as Egypt. So she's saying that the fruits of this land, that in this play, her name is all basically metaphorically synonymous with. It's like her physical presence may be disconnected from the land, but then based on what she said in the previous line, it's like her spiritual connection will always be there. So from this moment on, from this moment on, I want to focus on this land. Not from this moment on. The fruits of this land, more than just the fruits, the icons, not even icons. What is she saying? How do I paraphrase this? It's a strong metaphor. The truth of Egypt's great. It's like the prize of her country. In a way, it's like this place is known for its grapes almost. I want to see it that way, because that gives stakes. I mean, I don't know for sure if factually that was correct, but in terms of the stakes and raising the stakes on this monologue, it means so much more for me as an actor if the grapes she's talking about are like the #1 export of her nation. Like, this is what people fight wars over in whatever BC, before Christ, you know what I mean? This is a hair towel, but like, how do I tie it? You know what I mean? So that my melody is facing the nice side. I don't know. Oh well. She's here. It's like a prized possession of that country in a way. Yeah. The prized possessions of my country and I will never physically meet again. From this moment on, these prized possessions of my country and I will never meet again. My country's treasures will not be savored by me again. From this moment on, my country's treasures and I will be apart. That's what she's saying. Fuck. Yeah, no, they hit me that deep. It hit me that deep. It's my interpretation of it anyway. Yeah, good Iris, quick. Make haste. I'm just imagining myself in Pride and Prejudice, the BBC version, where Mrs. Bennet's running out all over the house looking for Hill. Is that her name? Where is Hill? Where's Hill? because what's his face, Mr. Bingley. Crispin Bonham Carter's Mr. Bingley's on his way to see Jane. So funny. Yar yar good eye. I don't know why that image came to me. Come on, Iris, quick. I think I hear Anthony call. That's pretty easy to paraphrase. I see him lift his body to stand up and praise my noble choice. I hear him mock the luck of Caesar. I hear him making fun of Caesar's short-lived fortune in winning Rome, which he will pay for when he goes down to hell and the gods torture him for the rest of eternity. The line is, that makes sense on the line, yeah. I hear him mock the luck of Caesar, which the gods give men to excuse their after wrath. Husband, I come. Husband, I'm coming to join you. God, this is so, it's so real now. Husband, I come. Now to that name, my courage prove my title. I keep thinking about her title as the Queen of Egypt. In the Folgers Shakespeare edition, which I don't know. They said they put i.e. i.e. wife, like her titles. That's not really, no, that's not what she's saying. Now to that name. So it goes back to literally what people call her, like they refer to her as Egypt, the Queen of Egypt, the ruler of Egypt, as Egypt embodied, right? So to that name, you have to look at what she's referring to by that name, because to look at her, to look at this line and think of like her referring to herself as Antony's wife is so, it's like looking at Antony and referring to him as Cleopatra's husband, right? It's like, which microscope are you staring at one cell under? Like, excuse you. It's like a little bit like small eyes, small mind. Beady eyes, small mind. Now to that name. So now to that name, my courage proved my title. I feel this line. I just don't know how to explain it yet. Now to that name, my courage proved my title. My courage I guess we have to think about what she's doing right now. She is deliberately, I mean, she found her lover dead, right? She literally just paid for all his wars. Like, we want to talk about gold diggers. Dude, she was the sugar mama. She was like his sugar mama. Okay? She funded his war and he fucked up. He royally effed it all up. That was a bad bet. She bet on the wrong horse. But she's also saying that Caesar is way worse than that. She's not going for that guy. And Caesar will never have me. It's basically, right, part of what she's saying. But to that name, and honestly, if this was not a tragedy, if this was a comedy or a romance, a romantic drama, where she was the victor, for real, this is like an ironic victory, but if she was the victor for real, like, what's his name would be her consort. Sorry, Antony would be her consort, and she would still remain, like, Egypt would not be conquered by Rome. It would be kind of almost the other way around, where Rome would voluntarily submit to Egypt. See, the key is voluntarily, because if Antony won, he would have chosen her if he had it in him to win. And what would come with, she would be de facto ruler. Because we have to think about it like as a chessboard in power. And that's the premise of the whole play. True power cannot be conquered. True power is immortal. It's eternal. It cannot be conquered. So yeah, if they had won that war, right? Antony had already chosen her. He would basically become her consort. And Rome would have voluntarily, because he would be the winner, like the winning leader, voluntarily joined like a coalition of Egypt. You know what I mean? But instead, what we have is Caesar conquering Egypt, Alexandria. But he cannot conquer her. And I mean, when Shakespeare wrote this, penned it, before it was staged, it was like 1606, 1607. So James I had just started to take over, like, succeed, inherit the throne from Elizabeth I. And they were expanding their colonies, like the British Empire. It was a huge thing. Like, they were studying the Romans and the Roman Empire and how Rome had colonized Asia, Africa, blah, blah, blah. Americas. And that is why I think this play is so fascinating. Because, yeah, like, it is a white man's interpretation of Cleopatra. And whether or not it's problematic that white women have portrayed Cleopatra historically in cinematic and theatrical history as we know it right now, that is not really part of my... I'm not going to go there. I named it, but I'm not going there today. What I think is fascinating is that at this point in time, and how Shakespeare brings Cleopatra to life as a human-inspired character in this play. Like, she's a vessel, that the writing is so intricate that it can be fully embodied by a human being. You see? The blueprint is so clear. Opinions about it are not part of the craft necessarily, but part of the ethics of the art and the craft. So that's not my topic right now. What I will say on that note, though, and how it relates to me personally, is that, like, let's tie it back to when he wrote this. 1606, yeah. They were expanding their colonies into the Caribbean, okay? It's not the first time that those areas have been colonized in history. I mean, Romans did it before Christ. And then the Roman Empire fell. Anyway. But, so, what can I say? Like, the British had not made their way to China yet. So, I don't know. Shakespeare did not write Chinese people in his plays. And, I was like a bit fatigued of Elizabethan English white characters, and I wanted, and so I had to be like, what are the other options in this canon, in Shakespeare's canon, for me, that is that racially acknowledges this social construct that these Anglo-colonial people created in this English language and then enforced on all of us. Like, in Chinese, we don't call ourselves Chinese, we call ourselves Huaren. I mean, some people still refer to themselves as 中国人 or 中国后代, which is like, if I were to translate that literally, it's like the flower people, like literal flowers, like roses, dandelions, flowers, okay? Because that's where Hua comes from in the Chinese language. We call ourselves Huaren. So I'm a person of the flower culture. That, if I wanted to say myself, my name, like what I am in English, and then 中国后代is like the descendants of the Middle Kingdom. That's like the closest translation that I have right now, or the central country. So even the word China is not given to ourselves by ourselves in the English language. It was given to us based on how the Sanskrit word for the region that we were in, and is inspired by Qin Shi Huang in the Qin dynasty. So, talk about like outdated. I don't know. We don't identify ourselves as descendants of the Qin Empire, even though it's part of our history, I guess. I don't know. But like, how many dynasties have we seen? Lol, as Chinese people. Anyway, I digressed a little bit, but it's important because personally, I wanted to explore how Shakespeare wrote about other cultures and created characters from another culture. And it's significant that he, in 1606, penned a romantic, dramatic tragedy about how, if the tables were turned, Rome would have voluntarily submitted to Egypt through Antony and Cleopatra. Because you think about the play, right? It ends with her not ending her life, but not just ending her life, but realizing the tragedy of how if she does not take her life, her body is going to be paraded through Rome as a trophy. And therefore, she has to take her life in a dignified and noble way, in ways that she can control. And it's devastating, it's tragic for a person who loves life so much to reach that point, who's so full of life, to be like, I have no other choice right now because I lost everything. And if I don't do this, some asswipe is going to put my dead body on display, kill me in however in way, like he wants to kill me, and then put my body on display. Now, it's tough. It's kind of like hard to say, like whether or not I don't know. I don't remember the history. I don't remember the history outside of the play. I'm sorry. I don't know whether he actually did that, but the play ends after this event. So in Shakespeare's universe, it is unknown what that version of Caesar did with her body. However, but we know that he's coming with that intention, okay? We know he's coming with the intention to kill her in this Roman conqueror style and display that version of her death to the Roman public. And she's decided, no, I'm going to die. Like, I'm going to die by venom, by poison, by snake poison, and mummify myself in a way, in essence. I'm going to immortalize my body in my crown and my royal gown, and you won't have a choice. Yeah, like, dang. And I do feel that the reason why she brings her husband up is because it's a balm. A lot of the interpretations is like, oh, she's so much in love with Antony and but she's like, but no, she is not, because, okay, yes, the love is there, but this is layered, this is nuanced, this is complex, okay? Like, like, they're not legally married. And she's like, F it, I'm gonna die now, so I'm gonna call this man whatever the F I want to call him. He's always gonna be my husband, so here I am, bro. Not bro, like, here I am, husband. I'm joining you in the afterlife, like eternally, spiritually, we are husband and wife. And now I see, yeah, why the Folgers edition wanted to write the word wife in there, because that in itself is ironic, because she's not actually his legal wife. But the gravity of that union and that marriage, and it's like a sanctification in a way, yeah, that she is partnered in a union spiritually with this male spirit. Now he's a male spirit, okay. Yeah. Okay. Husband I come. Yeah. Now to that name, my courage proved my title. So yeah, you can see, like, how do I paraphrase that? Now to that name, my courage proved my title. Because what's in a name, right? What's in a name? To make a reference to the other romantic drama. tragic tale of two lovers dying. What's in a name? Here, name the person's name. Okay, like in Chinese, we say 名声 for reputation, right? And I'm thinking about that because in English, reputation is like so, it's a mouthful, right? It's a complex word, abstract even. But 名声 is literally translated as name, volume, sound, texture, quality of the sound. Sound, the sound of your name. So with this just literally saying that name, now to that name, my courage proved my title, like name holds so much more weight. If you think about the context of this ruler and her reputation, her power, her quote unquote soft power, her reputation. My courage proved my title. So she has multiple titles here, right? There is the spiritual husband and wife. There is the literal ruler of Egypt. Usually when in the English language, when the British talk about titles, we're talking about lords and ladies. We're talking about nobility. And Shakespeare already talked about nobility. He's like, I see him rouse himself to praise my noble act. It's not noble in a sense of like taking one's own life is not noble. It's the way she's doing this as an act of rebellion against Caesar, someone else who's going to mutilate her body. And she has no choice in that fact. It's like, she's like, I'm gonna die anyway, so F it, let me die how the F I want. So it's not, yeah. It's not a depression. It's not a depressive suicide, to name it for what it is. And it's not glorifying it in my opinion, because she's not glorifying it at all. She's trying to come to terms with her death, her inevitable death. And her husband, her spiritual husband, her lover. Like, if we're to talk about it like in down-to-earth terms, she needs to step, she is setting up this premise of how does her life conclude in a way that dignifies her, not at the hands of her conqueror. I think, oh my God, it's hitting me. Okay, so now to that name, my courage proved my title. So the courage here is not in the courage of ending her life. It's the courage of saying, you can't conquer me. I will not be conquered. It's in rebellion against the conquering. Spiritually, metaphorically, and yeah, you can say like this is a cosmic joke. Like, as human beings, like, we are the ones making all this meaning and putting so much effort into these things, and God is laughing because she's gonna die anyway. but that was dark. but this, it's, as a human being, it reveals her perspective of the world, her life in this situation. and her agency, her autonomy, and her power. Because that's what it's about. It's her power. And so her courage, my courage proved my title. My courage proved my title is like saying, how do I paraphrase this? My courage proved my... So I use, let's talk about that. I use this line. I use three of these lines, 2 of these lines in a poem that I did. And I actually used it in a different context. I did it in my poetry project, which if I ever get around to like figuring out how to convert an MTS file to a file that can be uploaded onto YouTube, I'll just upload it because I love that. I love that moment. I loved the moments captured by that in that project, in that showcase. Anyway, now to that, I use these lines because in my poetry project, which was a showcase, a short like 5-minute, I don't know, I kept within the time limit really well. Okay, it was like, these are the requirements for the project, let me bam bam bam. Okay, and the story came to me, right? I was like nervous because I didn't have long poems compared to like other people, but like I knew kind of like I had these inspirations, and the final piece I picked was this: now to that name, my courage proved my title, I am fire and air, my other elements I give to base her life. The story I was telling was about this woman who was betrayed by Apollo, right? Symbolically, she's like a goddess. Okay, she's a goddess. Betrayed by Apollo, sent to, I used Dante's Inferno. I used like a section where the guy was like, now I will tell thee why I am such a neighbor. Trusting in him. Basically, she's saying, I got effed up by that guy. It was a he. It was a male prisoner. But anyway. And then I used like a couple of Chinese sayings about how heaven has eyes, and the world, karma is cyclical. And heaven has eyes, humans can feel the depth of and the significance of what you're doing. And so karma is cyclical. And then I concluded with this rebirth scene where she's like, now to that name, my courage proved my title. So like she went through the tribulation and the trial, and she went through like a death, and then she was reborn eternally. You know, now she's like evolved into the next level of immortality, because this is like a Taoist thing. Like if you've ever seen Chinese mythology, you'll get it. But it was inspired by Yang Mi's version of Bai Qian in San Sheng San Shi Shi Li Tao Hua, so eternal love, where they go through 3 lives, 3 worlds, 10 miles of peach blossoms. They go through reincarnation and rebirth. And okay, this is how it relates to Antony Cleopatra, because she's not, I mean, you could say like from an atheistic point of view, she is killing herself, but the purpose of this monologue and this play as its function is to contemplate on the eternal nature of true power. But power doesn't necessarily come from taking and conquering and exploiting other lands. It comes from within. Like, she's cornered, she's on surface. Her country was taken from her, basically. is being taken from her. She's being conquered. She's lost so much money that she put into this war. And she will not lose her dignity in how she dies at the hands of another man. That is the courage. It's literally the fact that, like, it's a testament to her character in the sense that, like, it's like she's pushed to the wall. There's nothing else for her to lose except her life. And even in the losing of her life, she's like, no, I'm not going to lose my life the way you want me to lose it, Caesar. She's saying, I'm going to surrender my life I would rather surrender my life to the gods than surrender it to you. That's what she's saying. She's saying, Caesar wants to take my life. And if I don't do something about it, like, he's gonna take it. So I'm gonna give it to the gods now, like the Egyptian gods. Now, in a way that is aligned with me. Morally, ethically, whatever, Diana, the human being, and the actor, has opinions about that, sure. Like, I don't agree with that, but at the same time, that is the circumstance of this character is in. And as a human being, I can empathize. I have compassion for the gravity of the choices that she has to make, given that is what she has to deal with. And that's why this line means so much to me. Now to that name, my courage proved my title. It's one of my favorite lines in all of Shakespeare. No, for real, yeah. Now to that name, my courage proved my title. How would I paraphrase this? Yes, I am working on a paraphrasing exercise for doing this monologue in a studio setting. So, in a class setting. Studio class setting. It's not just any acting class. It's an acting class in a studio with Stella Adler roots. I'm literally learning technique from someone who physically was under her tutelage. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway. So, how do I... Now to that name, my courage proved my title. How the hell would I paraphrase that? And why would I paraphrase? Well, I want to paraphrase it because I don't need to, because it makes sense to me. Like, I could say it without needing a paraphrase because I fully get what she's saying. However, I want to go through this exercise anyway because I want to see what discoveries I can make about this monologue and these words and this character. But okay, let's just go word for word. Now, right, that one's easy. In this moment, I already used in this moment. But it's more like the quality of this verb. Yeah. The quality of the word now, the texture of the word now in this sentence is different from how I, Cleopatra, said it earlier. It's like, that one was like a goodbye to the grapes of Egypt. The treasures of my country. It's like, goodbye, treasures of my country. So now, from this moment on, I will never see you again. But this time she's saying, like, now to that name. And it's kind of like going forward from this moment on. Wow. See, that's what I discovered. That's why I wanted to paraphrase it. From this moment on. Yeah. The earlier one is like, in this moment. As of this moment, I will never do, I will never, as of this moment, I am parting. I say goodbye to the treasures of my country. This time around, it's like, from this moment on, to that name, my courage proved my title. My rebellion, my act of defiance against Caesar, will show the world why I have the titles and the reputation that I have. I found it. From this moment on, yeah, from this moment on, my courage will show the world why I have these titles and that reputation. Prove my title, right? Because Cleopatra is not out there to prove anything. She's there, she's being, she's just she's living. She's not just existing, she's living. Okay, she's just living. It's juicy. Okay. I don't know why that song popped into my head. Juicy. I am fire and air. My other elements I give to baser life. The word base here juxtaposes with noble act, right? That she talks about earlier. I am fire and air. Yeah, I'm spirit. I have become spirit. I am spirit. And air in breathing, I'm the air you breathe, basically. I'm fire and air. She's not the Holy Ghost. I am, she's one with spirit now. And everything else I give to the earth. That's deep. I'm spirit. The rest of me is now with the earth. I'm fire and air. Okay, am I? So have you done? Yeah. So she turns to Charmian and Iris, being like, are you done? Are you done dressing me? So have you done? Are you done dressing me? Basically. She turns to them. So have you done? Are you done dressing me? Come now and take the last warmth from my lips. This is more than just kiss me goodbye, which is in effect what she's saying. She's saying, come and take the last warmth from my lips. how would I paraphrase that? Come now. Come here and say your last goodbye to me. And take my last goodbye. Kiss me. Farewell, kind Charmian. Farewell. I want to, in paraphrasing the word farewell, I want to talk about the texture, the quality of this word farewell. Like, you're not just saying goodbye, you're saying, I hope you fare well in my absence. Kind Charmian. I could paraphrase it that way. Yeah. Good Iris. That's obvious. So long goodbye. Farewell, kind Charmian. Good Iris. Oh. I lost the words. I had the words, I think. Good Iris. Long farewell. Does she say farewell twice? She does not say farewell twice. Did I got lost in the sauce somewhere there. She does say farewell twice. Did I copy it wrong? God. Okay, whatever. Well, I'm gonna go look it up after I end record. I'm gonna click end and I'm gonna go look up the words in my folder edition. Or no, I actually do have, oh, hold on. Wait, no, I have the RSC version right here. Have the RSC version in my little baggie. Literally, I had to take it to class. But we did. Tragedy. Oh, I randomly flipped to the tragedy of Othello. How funny. How funny that one of the last characters I was assigned was Iago. I love it. I love it. Playing it. I don't love Iago, but I love playing him because the premise of Othello is jealousy, right? Like, and this man is like not able to, or he basically kills his wife because he thinks his wife is effing around. And, oh, it's the play right before Antony and Cleopatra in this edition. And Iago is so jealous of Othello. Basically, the whole play is how Iago F's this man up because he's so jealous of Othello. Like, Iago's sitting there like, I deserve all of this shit, so I'm gonna F him up. I'm gonna take him down. I'm gonna use his race against him. And I create my, well, I mean, yep. And I know that man. I know what that man is like. I know men who are like that, even if they're not gonna do what Iago did in getting a guy to kill his wife. Fine. But I was like, when I was assigned it, I think it was because they needed someone to fill that gap. And then my teacher was like, yeah, Diana can do that. Let's put her in there. Because I wasn't sure. Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if I was going to join that class at that point in time. And then I was like, oh yeah, well, okay, fine. I'll give it a shot. I'll try it. And then I went. And then she was like, well, we need someone because this other person in the class was doubling up. He was going to do 2 scenes, and then she was like, okay, well, let's just give one of them to Diana. And she gave me this one, and I was like, I love this. I love it. I love it. I know this man. I can play this man. I can do it. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna be a villain. Ha ha ha. Even though I'm not a white Venetian man, but I know this man. Anyway, what scene did I do? Rodrigo and Iago. I was Iago with Rodrigo. Oh my god, so much fun. Convince him to go after, what's his name, Othello's wife. So devious. Because he references the man's race indirectly, I think. Yeah. Even like in how he talks about Othello's wife in comparison to what Othello is not. You know what I mean? Anyway. Oof, well written. Very well written. You know, and I think that comes back to the premise of this play as well. And I love how in the RSC version it's right in front of the tragedy of Antony and Cleopatra. Even though sequentially they wrote, he wrote Julius Caesar first and then Antony and Cleopatra after. Right after that, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. I might be making that up. I don't know. But what I do know is that, like, these 2 plays next to each other is so interesting. Because here in this play, Cleopatra is not white, okay? She's been played by many white women, which is whatever, you know. That's history, okay? I'm concerned with the present and the future. I've come to terms with history. I think that I don't need to give people a history lesson. In this video, because this video is not a history lesson. This video is about my relationship with Cleopatra's monologue. So yeah, like if I want to do history lesson, I would make a history lesson video, but that's not my specialty. Here we go. Yeah, it is. She says farewell twice. I was second guessing myself. I remembered it. That's why I caught myself like, do I say farewell twice? Why do I say farewell twice? But yeah, it's like, I hope you fare well in my absence, kind Charmian and Iris. There's no good. I made up the good. Oops. Iris, long farewell. Oh, no. She says good before. Yar, good, Iris, quick. That's why I repeated it. Okay. Then the rest of it, you know, I've been thinking about adding on and continuing this monologue until she dies. But for the purpose of my class, I ended it here. Because, well, Iris dies, and then I start talking about Iris. And, you know, yeah, the rest of it is about her coming to terms with death and thinking about how Antony will spend that kiss. I don't know. But for me, the most dramatically impactful part that I wanted to work on Like I mean, I get to choose. I paid for this. I signed up for this, and I wanted to dive deep into these sentences because it, and then now I feel like, okay, you know, yeah, and I want to do them well. I want to do them so well that I really get to the essence of Cleopatra's character, so that if and when I ever get the opportunity to be her in a full version of this play, every other scene I do is grounded in this section, in these lines. Obviously, the past, you know, this is in Act 5, right? But I need to have the size and the weight and the gravity of Act 5, even if my character has no knowledge that Act 5 is coming in Act 1. You know what I mean? And I thought about it. I looked through all of the other monologues she has in this play, and I thought about it, and I was like, this is the essence of who she is. And interestingly, it is also the premise of the entire play, right? The basic argument of this play is that power like real, true, genuine power cannot be conquered. And I feel it's on the nose. It's right on the nose. He's in 1606, surrounded by people who are like idolizing, I suppose, glorifying the Roman Empire, studying it as a basis for the British Empire. And he's here holding the mirror up to nature, saying, look at this story. I think it's fabulous. I think looking at it in that lens, it's like anti-colonial in a way. It's like more, it's not even anti-colonial. It's like saying like all of your colonialism is just for naught at the end of it, because you can take the woman's country away from her, but you're not going to take the woman's spirit and her soul. Yeah. Obviously, and that I think like that's why it's a tragedy, right? Because on the surface, everything is royally effing up and falling apart. But the great hope, you know, of it all. And then, I mean, Caesar ends the play talking about her. And saying he's going to bury her with Antony. And he actually is like, his soul has been conquered by her quote unquote noble act. You know, because the man was going to parade her body through Rome. And now he's like in admiration of her in a way. Even though physically, materially, he won. Spiritually, yeah, he lost. He didn't win, which obviously means he lost. Spiritually, he has bigger questions. It's not just a binary win or lose for him spiritually. It made him think. And that is the effect she has. And so, yeah, like, I can sit here and think about, oh, are they fetishizing Cleopatra? But then, like, yeah, well, it's a myth. It's based on a myth. It's a mythologized version of a historical figure. And symbolically, it's so on the nose to write a play about a Black woman right as your rulers are literally discussing the birth of the transatlantic slave trade. Historically, that is kind of where this play was physically located in time. They were just about to start that trade. So obviously, 200 years later, right, after that trade of human lives in this way, in that iteration was ended, is when, you know, us people of the flower culture came into the picture of white Anglo-colonial British history as indentured laborers on the quote-unquote pig trade on recycled transatlantic ships, where people were branded like pigs. And it was debt slavery. So people, yeah, anyway. That's a whole other topic. But the whole idea of debt slavery is like, you're in debt to us, so until you can pay off your debt, we own you. So there's a financial element to it as well, which is wild. Wild. Okay. Anyway, so obviously for me to remember my history and my roots and my ancestral connection to the British Empire as a Commonwealth citizen and bring that into my work as an actor in the world of Shakespeare, like, what are my choices, bro? This is the strongest choice. It's not because I see myself as, yeah, I don't see myself, you know, I was thinking like, am I, you know, when I saw this monologue, when I approached it for the first time, like, okay, let's talk about it. I love this. Let's tell a little story. Okay. My Shakespeare teacher, the one who assigned me, she assigned me Iago. She also assigned me like the nurse from R&J. And I loved them. And she really like asked me good questions that made me think, okay? Because I was really frustrated coming back into Shakespeare. Like, I had a whole, like, 10 years, I guess, yeah, where I fell out of love with Shakespeare productions. I was like, I'm done with this white world and way white women are portrayed, and I don't see myself in these limiting constructs of womanhood in Shakespeare's universe. And then she questioned me, and we started talking about it. And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, fine, let me pick a character in Shakespeare's universe that I resonate with fully and I can get behind. I mean, mind you, I'm like, demographically speaking, probably maybe Titania in A Midsummer Night's Dream, and the other fairies. Like, those are the ones that I could, if you want to talk about racially ambiguous, I could slot myself in there and get behind that. But I was like, no, I want something with weight, like, for me, something that means something to me. And I was like, okay, well, what are my other options? What are my options? And I was like, I don't like Viola. Like, we have Mulan, okay? I think I've talked about this before. Like, why would I go from Mulan, who dresses as her father's son, to take his place in the military so that he can retire and look after his injuries in peace, right? Why would I go from a culture that where feminism is that, and where women do that out of love, to like playing a woman who dresses as a man so that she can get closer to a boy she loves? Why would I do that to myself? Right? So that's my baseline. Okay, my baseline is like, I'm gonna like, is there a military commander in here that's dressed like a woman dressing as a man who's going to command armies? Where? And then I landed on Cleopatra. I was like, okay, well, what are Cleopatra's monologues? I was like, the big monologues, right? There's the one where Antony dies, and I tried it. I brought that to class, and I was like, I did it, and then it didn't hit me as hard as this one, because that was the one that the internet told me. You know, I was like, what are some Cleopatra monologues? And then they were like, oh, this one and that one, like these long chunks of text about Antony. This one is about her. She's saying so much more, I think, in this one. She's not just some lover, okay? She's not a lover girl. This is not Romeo and Juliet. She's also a queen who is in love. She's, first and foremost, I mean, they're humans, but she's like a human with a royal status who is in love. And when I say queen and royal, it's not so much like, oh, like the looking pretty part, but the part where she's commanding armies. She's deciding the finances of her country. Okay, she's invested her country's resources in Antony's war, like another military commander. Yeah, she's the person who pulls the purse strings, and she falls in love with a military commander in a triumvirate, right? And these three warlords, for lack of a better analogy, three warlords are just like fighting over the Roman Empire, and she's like fallen in love with one of them. That's the kind of love we're talking about here. So I brought this one to class, and gosh, it challenged me. I loved it when I read it, and I was freaking the F out the first time I did it. And my teacher, she helped me find what I was looking for. So I started engaging my imagination, okay, in the exercise as we were doing it in the class, right? And I felt like those the royal robes in like the Tang dynasty or whatever, you know, like that was not the last one. The last one was a Qing, right? But you can see like those, like the royal robes with like the long sleeves, shui xiu, right? That's from the dance, but like these long sleeves hanging off of I felt that in my mind's body, you know. I could feel it. I could feel the weight of these royal robes draping off my arms. I could see the view from the Forbidden Palace in front of my eyes even. I mean, I'd gone to visit, I went to visit the replica, the life-size replica of it in the Hongdian. I also visited the Yuanmingyuan, right? The, what was it called? I don't know the English word. It's just the depressing, it's sad, tragic, it's tragic. It's the one where, what's his name? Where the Anglo-French forces invaded in China. The old summer palace. Yeah, I got it now. Went to visit a life-size replica of what it was like before it was invaded in Hengdian, right? Hengdian is like semi-controversial, but because anyway, whatever. And I saw it in my mind's eye as I was doing this monologue, and I was like, this is a perspective I have not seen done before in this monologue, and the words make sense. Because, yes, the receiving, right, the symptoms even of the what's the word for it? The malignment, the illness of colonization, of being colonized. Yeah, they're different for the different races, and yet the disease of the colonizer is the same. It's one racial category that's projected a bunch of stuff onto a bunch of other people that were categorized by them in other races. And then the people who created these racial categories taught other people who they put in their own category how to look at people that they put in other categories. And we're just living through these effects 400 years later, basically, and coming to terms with it, reconciling with it, all of this, right? And here in this one play, literally Shakespeare is like, nah, bro, y'all think you caught this woman? You will never catch her soul. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I said that in a very zillennial, Gen Z, American slang, TikTok slang way. I don't know what I was saying. I don't know where that came from, but it came from a real place. So, I think, thanks for doing my homework with me. This is behind the scenes on an actor's journey. My relationship to character. Yes, okay, so I thought about it. I was like, well, there's so many adaptations of Shakespeare. I would adapt this play in that way. And yeah, for me, that was what got me into this monologue. That was my entry point. That was the doorway into this monologue. And yeah, obviously for me, like, I'm looking at Cleopatra's circumstances as Cleopatra's. Like, I'm not going in there being like, what would Diana do? No. In a way, yeah, it's like this body, this creation, this life form that is named Diana is sort of like responding in imagination, like in circumstances that the blueprint gave me. However, like, I can't go into there being like, thinking about how, I like, what real life reference am I gonna use to be like, the juice of Egypt's grape will never, like, now no more the juice of Egypt's grape shall moist its lip. I can think of that. I actually can find things that I can relate to from there. But yeah, but the key is that I'm starting from her point of view. And Diana gets to play my games at home and chill, you know? Like, I'm not saying, oh, I'm not going this way. I'm going compassion is what I have. And so, yeah, I have a lot of compassion for this character, or I have a lot of compassion for the life that this character represents. And I love her. I love this blueprint, this documentation that was written and recorded by Shakespeare, I guess. Put into words by Shakespeare. All right, I think I have said everything I needed to say and I wanted to say. Good night.